From the fabulous Texas Hill Country, this is Zero Limits with Dr. Joe Vitale, brought to you by Zero Limits Mentoring, the easiest way for you to have Dr. Joe as your personal mentor. Discover more at ZeroLimitsMentoring.com. Get the information, inspiration, and ignition you need to live your best life with Zero Limits. And now, your host, Chuck Pennington, and star of the show, Dr. Joe Vitale.
Hey everybody, I am Chuck Pennington, your host for Zero Limits with Dr. Joe Vitale, brought to you by Zero Limits Mentoring. You can go to ZeroLimitsMentoring.com to find out more. Joe, how are you doing today?
Awesome. I always look forward to seeing you and being on this show. We're making such a difference, and I'm being inspired by we're inspiring people, so I'm doing great.
This is awesome. So sometimes we start with a, round of gratitude. So today we're talking about money mindset.
Yeah.
And gratitude is a big part of money mindset. So what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for just being here today with you. And so what are you grateful for today?
Oh, I'm grateful for life, for the sun, for the sky, for the air, for us being together, for the technology we have, for the support of our cameraman over there. And you know, Arnold Patton is one of the people who deeply influenced me. He wrote a book called Money. And he has a quote that ties into what you're just talking about, and ties into this whole show, and I wish that this quote was mine, but it's not. It's his. The sole purpose of money is to express appreciation. The sole purpose of money is to express appreciation.
That's absolutely huge.
When I first read that, I thought, oh, there's got to be an exception. It can't be. Is it that easy?
Right.
And then I thought, when I write a check for the phone bill, I'm glad to have my phone.
Right.
When I write a check for utilities, electric or something, I'm glad to have air conditioning in Texas or heat up north. When I write a check for the mortgage or a car payment or whatever, I buy a guitar, I write a check. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And I realized that most people, especially when they still think like a victim, which we talked about on a previous episode, most people complain when they write a check.
Right.
I did.
They hurt.
They hurt. It's like, my money's gone. Here we go. Right. There goes another one.
Right.
And what he did was reframe it to gratitude. The sole purpose of money is to express appreciation.
Nice.
That one thing, man, you take that in, you own that, you put it on your heart, tattoo it on your brain, make it new part of your wiring. That'll shift the whole money experience right there.
Absolutely. It's just it's a value exchange.
It absolutely is.
It's a way of expressing gratitude for value given. And ever since I've kind of adopted that, it makes everything just a whole lot easier. It's like you get into a flow, and it's like instead of being a brick wall or a funnel, you're just a flow of money, and it becomes an energy rather than just this thing that we get all jacked up over.
Right.
And so how do people get so messed up over money? And how can they create a winning money mindset? But first let's talk about how people first get messed up over money.
Well, they get messed up real easy because there's a lot of beliefs in the culture, as well as in the marketplace, as well as in the individuals around lack and limitation.
Yeah, it goes back to the programming we talked about in the earlier episode.
Absolutely correct. I will often ask people, were your parents Mr. and Mrs. Buddha?
Right.
I go, no. Your parents had limiting beliefs about money, about romance, about life, and you downloaded those beliefs.
Right.
Most likely their limiting beliefs about money are alive and well in you. They downloaded them from their parents, and they passed them on to you, and you will probably pass them on to your kids, unless this show is the wake-up call.
Right on.
Unless there's something that goes, I'm done with that, and it's over. But we come into life with a lot of beliefs that we're not aware of, and a lot of them around money. I grew up with my father saying, if you want to double your money, fold it over and put it back in your pocket. And I grew up thinking, man, he's smart.
Right.
He's a genius. That is brilliant. He was broke.
Right.
I mean, he put us through school and he fed us and everything, but barely.
Right.
And he came from the Great Depression area, born in 1925, Great Depression in America in 1929. So he grew up thinking, boy, there is not enough going around. And that is his reality. So for him to have any money come in, yeah, it would make sense to him to go, best way to keep your money or double it, fold it over, put it in your pocket.
Right.
I now know that's a statement of lack and limitation.
Right.
If you actually want to double your money, you know what you need to do with it? Give it away.
Right.
Put it into circulation.
Right.
That I talk about everything from prosperous purchasing to just tithing, just giving. The more you can put that money in the marketplace and do it with a detached, loving, grateful attitude,
Right.
the faster and easier it'll come back to you because of the flow and circulation of money, and doubled or 10 times over.
Right.
But why wouldn't that work? Because I know I can hear the devil's advocate people going, I gave away some money, I didn't get any back.
Right.
Well, if you have beliefs about money, like there's never enough, or you have beliefs about yourself, I don't deserve good things, I don't
Right.
deserve money, you will block the flow from coming to you.
Well, let's talk about one of the phrases, and it's
Yeah.
on your website, Attract Money Now. It's the headline. Money is the root of all.
Everybody finish the line. We don't have to finish the line. Everybody just said, evil, evil, money is the root of all evil.
Right.
Well, I tell people, first of all, that's in the that's around the planet, by the way.
Oh,
I've been to
that's
Russia, I've been to Italy, I've been all
everywhere.
over. It doesn't matter what their religion is.
Yeah.
They have it in their unconscious, what Jung would call the collective unconscious.
Right.
Money is the root of all evil. So I tell people, you can try to attract money. You can try to work for money. You can try to achieve money and have money given to you. You can do all kinds of things for money. But if you think it's evil, you will not allow it into your life. Or if you do get some, you will get rid of it because you think it's bad.
Right.
This is why lotto winners, because they haven't grown into the appreciation of money and they're suddenly dumped, sometimes millions of dollars,
Right.
are actually broke and in debt a year to 2 to 3 years later. And most of the rest of us going, how is that possible? That's impossible. Give
Right.
me the money. And what they don't realize is that money is the root of all evil belief is there. So one of the things I do, and we're going to do it right now,
Right.
is take that away.
Right.
That phrase is from a longer biblical phrase that says, the love of
Right.
money is the root of all evil. Well, the wealthy people that I've come across that are balanced and whole and at peace, they're not in love with money. Going back to Arnold Patton's quote,
Right.
they're grateful
Right.
for it, they appreciate it, they leverage it, they use it, but they're not in love with money. So if you're
And they understand that it's an exchange of value, that you can't just, throw it away, and that's how people get rid of their money, who are the lotto winners. They're getting rid of it thinking that it doesn't hold intrinsic, or that
Right.
there can be a value exchange. Where
Right.
if you create value and add money to that, I mean, it's a catalyst that just multiplies.
Yeah. Well, in the early days, we didn't have money. What we did was I wanted some cow's milk, and I had some sheep
Right.
or wolves or something, and I gave you furs and you gave me milk, and we decided with a handshake that was even Stephen. We did our
Right.
value exchange. Today we do it with money. But because we've projected, and this is the other thing that you were leaning towards actually when you asked me about how our problems get started with money,
Right.
is we project survival onto money. We project unconsciously the psychology that we must have, we must do whatever it takes, and in some cases, do illegal things, unethical things, whatever it takes in order to have money. Because they made money their God. And as we've learned also from the biblical literature, not that I'm teaching a Christian view of things here, I'm actually just wanting to dismantle some of the limiting beliefs around money. And thinking it's evil is a limiting belief. Loving money is actually one of the reasons that would cause you not to have money. Thinking money is the only way for you to survive is also another way that you're going to block it.
Right.
Because you're already surviving. I wrote a book called The Awakened Millionaire.
Right.
And in The Awakened Millionaire, I said, you don't need more money. You don't need more money. Everybody says they want more money.
Right.
You need more creativity.
Exactly.
More creativity,
Right.
and you will generate whatever it is that you want, which may include money as a means to an end. But it's not the money itself. I tell people, focus on your dreams.
Right.
Follow your passions, bring your particular contribution to life into being, and the money that you need will come about to support that, or the creativity, or the people, or the resources will come to support it. But take the survival emphasis, the victimhood mentality that I must have money and money's the only way. Remove that.
Right.
And you can actually have money.
Yeah, because if you can provide value, which is the typical exchange, value becomes, in a sense, money. Because if you can provide value, I mean, it goes back to the old school. If you provided value, you got a goat. If you provided value, you got chickens.
Right.
So, I mean,
Right.
it doesn't have to be money all the time. It can be fair and equitable exchanges of time, of services, of, you know, all kinds of ways that money can be created in our lives, used and manifested. So
It's unfortunate that we project so much onto money itself. I think what's been useful to me is, I mentioned I travel around the world, and so when I go to a country like Russia, I hold out my hand and they put their money in it. And I look at their money and I go, this isn't real. This is play money, this is game money, this is monopoly money. Then I go to some place like I was in Italy and they put their money there, and I'm going, that doesn't resemble mine, it doesn't resemble Russia's money.
Right.
What kind of money is this? Poland, I go to all these different countries and I go all this different money, and you start to realize we're just agreeing on this means of exchange so we can get something done. When you actually strip away all of the projected energy onto it, all the projected meaning onto it, it's nothing but paper and coin.
Right.
Nothing. The closer we can get to that sense of, oh, it's just a means to an end, or the Arnold Patent, the sole purpose of money is to express appreciation, move into that area, now we're free to actually have money.
absolutely. Well, those are some very, very valuable insights now that we're talking about money. And as soon as we come back, we are going to be discussing some of the tips and tricks that Joe's going to give you to help you get your winning money mindset created. So we'll be right back.
Oh, I'm so proud of me. I love being productive. I just got done creating a 7-module behind-the-scenes director's cut, author's cut for my book, Attract Money Now. Now, of course, Attract Money Now is still free. Go to attractmoneynow.com and you can have it. But I thought, what if I updated the book? I wrote the book years ago. What if I updated it with shortcuts and hacks and insights and stories and processes that I've acquired or attracted or achieved or developed since writing the book? And I just finished doing all of that. So I'm going to be releasing it soon. Right now, I'm just so orgasmically excited that I had to tell somebody that I just created this program and I'm going to release it soon. So I'm telling you, stay tuned, it'll come soon.
So Joe, what can people do sitting at home right here, right now, to reframe their money mindset, to create a winning money mindset? What have you taught people over your 35 years?
Yeah, I've taught a lot of different things, and of course we have the book, Attract Money Now, the director's cut of the book, and we have a mentoring program. There's a lot of things people can do and to get to the heart of this. But I'm going to tell you one of the big tips that I would suggest right now. This is $1 million tip.
Listen.
Right? Rewrite your story. Rewrite your story. Right now, everybody watching, everybody that's participating here, looks back over their life and they're thinking, well, this is what I learned about money, this is what my father taught me, my mother taught me, blah, blah, blah. They're all looking at that. They can tell you their story. They can tell you where they learned about money, much like I was saying that my father said, fold it over, put it back in your pocket, double your money. He would say things like, the best friend you have in the world is the dollar bill in your pocket.
Right.
That's part of that story I was brought up with.
Sure.
Now today, I tell a different story. I tell it in a...
Yes, you do.
I tell a humorous story for one thing. In the old days when I was struggling and I would tell that story, I sided with his view. So the story that I would tell is, my father told me that the best way to double my money, fold it, put it back in my pocket. And I would tell it like, that's what I do today. I fold my money over and I put it back in my pocket. Look, I got folded money. He would say your best friend's a dollar bill in your pocket. And I would say, look, I got 10 friends.
Right.
You know, lucky me. I don't tell those stories anymore. I have a different story. And I grew up with the awakening that my father was born in the Great Depression, 1925. And so he got fried, he got mentally wired to believe in lack and limitation. But when I tell the story, it's his story. It's not my story. I am separate from that story.
That's huge.
This is the point.
That is huge.
Until a certain point, in a moment like this, we all still talk in terms of being a victim.
Right.
In the early days, I would have said, this is what I believe about money, and I got it from my parents. What can I do about it? That's it. I'm programmed. That's victimhood. What I teach, as you know, because we talked about it in another episode earlier on, is empowerment.
Yes.
And empowerment includes things like you can rewrite your past. You can write a different story.
Wow.
One of the things I'm advising people to do is just to write it in terms of you are separate from what you were taught.
Right.
You were being taught from people who had their own programming, they were passing on their beliefs. But there's an extended version of this rewrite. And the extended version is where you make it up the way you wish it had gone.
Oh, nice, right.
So I would write the story saying that, my father struggled with money. My mother didn't, though. My mother had this abundant attitude. She grew up on a farm, and she'd look out and she would say, the earth gives you corn. You just plant a few seeds, and look at it, it just keeps coming. Money's like that. It just keeps coming. Now,
Nice.
Chuck, as I sit here with you and I tell you this, that isn't how my mom thought.
Sure.
She came from a farm, and she struggled.
Right.
And she knew about poverty. But as I rewrite the story, I just create it the way I would prefer it to be.
It just made me feel better.
It made me feel better. Yeah. And I think my mother and father are both gone. I think they're probably laughing, going, that's pretty clever, that kid.
Right.
And he's passing it on to other people. So what I'm suggesting is that we rewrite the story so that we feel more empowered about the whole thing. That'd be one tip.
Stories sell.
Oh,
Even to
stories.
yourself.
Stories are the key motivator. We know that in selling, that people buy because of the story, but we also know that we're living our lives in terms of stories.
Right.
The stories we tell ourselves are what's guiding us through our lives. The stories are actually belief mindsets.
Right.
A story is a condensed belief mindset.
Nice.
It's a paradigm. You change that story and you change a whole lot of beliefs. And in fact, this is, boy, I hadn't thought about it, but this is like a brain hack.
Yeah.
A brain hack. Instead of taking one belief at a time, like, okay, money used to be the root of all evil, now money's good. And then take another one, like, I used to think I don't deserve money, but I deserve money. You can do one belief at a time, which is still useful.
Right.
But what if you did a whole ball of beliefs, a whole nest of beliefs, a whole software program? You look at your life and you go, you know what, I grew up and I thought money was bad and I was not deserving of it, it was hard to get, but shift, I have a new story now. And the new story is I live in an abundant universe. I am empowered. I watch this show on a regular basis.
Right.
I participate in Zero Limits and mentoring, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm making a difference in my life. That new story just wiped out 1,000 little beliefs.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah, it's a brain hack.
That's huge. I mean, I've been working with you for 10 years, and I don't get goose pimples often,
But you got it.
So I think we need to
Take a deep
just
breath.
chill right there for a second, and maybe one more quick tip for the folks. But to me, that unless you got something better, man, maybe we ought to just leave this right here
That's
and
funny.
go on.
Yeah, unless you got something better. Well, you know what? I do have something better. But
Well,
what I think we
let's
should
knock
do,
it out.
No,
No?
I think
Okay.
we should let people sit with this.
Yes.
And we'll do it on another episode.
All right, let's do that.
Because there
Let's
is
do
so
that.
much more.
Yeah.
Some of which I already have to say, and some of which comes from inspiration in the moment, which is a lot of what you and I do together.
And I think that just happened right there. So,
I agree.
I think right
I
now
agree.
we just need to leave that, let that button up,
Yeah.
and give that to people
Yeah.
as the go rewrite your story.
Yeah.
Go rewrite your entire story. That is absolutely huge. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for those valuable insights. If you have loved this episode, we do this on Wednesday nights, Zero Limits Mentoring. You can go to zerolimitsmentoring.com. And thank you very much for tuning in. And until then, as Joe always loves to say,
Expect miracles.
thanks, everybody. See you next time.
From the fabulous Texas Hill Country, this is Zero Limits with Dr. Joe Vitale, brought to you by Zero Limits Mentoring, the easiest way for you to have Dr. Joe as your personal mentor. Discover more at ZeroLimitsMentoring.com. Get the information, inspiration, and ignition you need to live your best life with Zero Limits.